It's a collective. As a collective, we believe in a lie which can be proven to be false. For example, apparently in Star Wars, the most famous line is, "Luke, I am your father." Have you heard of this? Apparently that's not what the script says. Apparently the actual script is, "Look, I am your father." Apparently, it's a collective lie that's been fed to us. But that's what I'm trying to say. The more things become digitized, the more things will be easier to corrupt. So the Quran, so preservation, there's a reason I started with that argument. It's so fundamental and so important. And that's why we proudly will tell you about the lineage of our Prophet. We'll proudly tell you his sayings in Arabic and in English, and give you the chain and tell you the people in that chain. Why? Because we're trying to show you, look mate, you can't corrupt objective morality. It's something that's not going to change. Yes, a Muslim might say, no, we're living in the West and we should be da-da-da-da. Okay, but does the Quran say that? Do you see?
That's subjective.
Exactly. So the scripture is objective in its kind of generality. However, when you look, there's a reason people are going to gravitate towards Islam. However, the forces on the outside are more prevalent. I'll give you an example. Like, I'm a YouTuber. I'm telling you the amount of censorship and difficulty I'm facing when it comes to just producing content.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it is very difficult. If you say Free Palestine, this used to happen like 15, 20 years ago. On BBC radio, Charlie Sloth, rappers would come on and they would say Free Palestine, it would get censored. This was 20 years ago. That would get censored.
Yeah.
But yet we're told Free Palestine. Oh, no, that's a problem. Why is that a problem? What's wrong with that? The flag, Earl. The flag. You got people getting knocked on the door because there's a problem with the flag now. Now people have to put watermelons up. Now the watermelon's going to be banned. Then the banana's going to be banned. Yeah, so watermelon is the colors of the Palestinian flag. So if... Sorry? Probably. Then the banana, then the apple, all of this, every fruit, because apparently octopus is anti-Semitic as well. So the octopus, but then I don't want people are going to call me anti-Semitic if I name other animals, so I'm not going to do that. But what I'm saying is that then animals are going to be banned, and this is going to be banned, and that going to be banned. However, you can insult Jesus. You can do that. You can insult the Prophet Muhammad. Hey, lighten up, man. It's freedom of speech. Let's discuss about Holocaust and whoa, what's going on there, mate? No, I just said let's discuss. Whoa, they deny what happened. Anti-Semitic, cancel. Get rid of him. Let Kanye West him. So that's the point that I'm trying to say, and I agree with you. But what I'm saying is there are certain things that objectively we can measure. Like I was talking about the Quran. If I was to tell you that the chapter of Noah is chapter 71, the chapter of Noah, chapter 71, and there are 28 verses in there. Yeah, 71 minus 28 is 43. 43. So if you look at the chapter of Noah, 43 chapters before don't mention the word Noah. 43 chapters afterwards don't mention Noah. So if this was something random, then why is even numerically it's miraculous? Even numerically, like Noah in Arabic is Nuh. It's a 3-letter word. Yeah? And the first time it comes up in the Quran is chapter 3, verse 33. All these threes. Yeah? And then if you look further, you'll realize even in the chapter of Noah, where is it coming up? We see threes again. So again, this was a book that was revealed to an unlettered person. It was a book that was revealed circumstantially, not in verse or chapter order. However, it must be miraculous. That's why if it was something weak, even in the park, it would be easily refuted. Oh, this is a contradiction, this is ridiculous, this doesn't fit, that doesn't fit. Why is it that it's still leading? Even though it's being suppressed. Even though I'm telling you, somebody working in an Islamic school, I'm telling you, Earl, it's very difficult to even classify something as an Islamic school. It's so difficult. However, when you go to certain religious people,
Change certain things, or
no, that's because
circumstances.
that's because when it comes to the law, it's being more enforced on Islam to liberalize. However, when you look at certain Jewish schools, they don't even teach English in there, and they're getting, below average. I think inadequate, but they're okay with that. But when it comes to Muslim schools, that's enough to kind of take us off, and it's difficult. So Islam is coming under attack. You look, anytime something happens, LBC, the whole day we're debating it. Front page headlines, the 40 beheaded babies was not verified. It was not. It was a barefaced lie, They've admitted that now. On these very same platforms like Sky News, they've admitted it. But on the front page news, it was everywhere. Why was it everywhere? That's because they say that.
Well, I think they're winding up the West because they want civil war here. This is what they really.
Yeah.
They're winding up people up just like they're labelling you guys.
So when people say, "Oh, Islam's are here to control and this and that," control what? You know what I mean? Like we can barely control our own schools. We can barely even control our kids. It's very difficult. On the one hand, I'm telling my child, "Oh, okay, let's."
Do you think they're bringing you over here to liberalise a massive?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you the types of people that get brought over here. In Afghanistan, there were two groups of people that were fighting. One was pro-West. So you got the Northern Alliance, they were fighting for them, they were fighting for the West. You got those sorts of Muslims. Then you've got the other, I'll put them in quotes as well if it makes people happy, but you got other Muslims that were with the Taliban. If you were fighting with the Taliban and then Taliban come into power and you want to come to the UK, you get no asylum. Only if you are siding with us that you get asylum. If you're in Iraq, if you're siding with us, you get asylum. If I'm telling you as a Muslim, there are certain people, there's two ways that you can come to the UK. Two ways you'll get asylum here. Not if you're a Sunni Muslim, no. If you say that you're gay. If you say you're gay and you're being persecuted, you can come here. Welcome, mate. Welcome to Great Britain, mate. Yeah, welcome, mate. You shine your shoes, do all of that, mate. Or if you are an Ahmadiyya. Ahmadiyya are we don't class them as Muslims, but they were born from a colonial period when Britain took over India, and this guy who claimed to be a prophet came out and said, you don't need to fight them. You need to, respect them, love them. Look, there's no need to fight, no need to and he was very pro. That's why if you're Ahmadi, you can come over here. If you're, homosexual, you can come over here, no problem. If you're Sunni, if you what can you bring to it? I'm telling you, listen, I'm telling you, as a Sunni, what can you bring to the table? Oh, I'm a doctor, mate. All right, you can come here and you can shine some shoes. No, but I'm a doctor. Now you're going to come here and then you have to do a couple of things again. No, but I've been curing so much. Nah, it doesn't matter anything over here. I know people that have done medicine over there. They have to come here, do 3 extra years. People that are lawyers but that doesn't count over here, mate. Maybe you guys have just done a Pakistani version of that, mate. So I'm telling you, mate, there's certain types of Muslims or certain brown people. To you guys, it might seem like, oh, there's loads of them coming over, mate. What's going on? But even when it comes to Indians, loads of Indians coming over because India is going to be part of BRICS and it's a geopolitical stronghold. A lot of countries are going for India. It's a very important geopolitical stronghold. But when it comes to Muslims, mate, we're struggling, mate. On the one hand, if like my mate was telling me about some new movie that came out. I don't want to name the movie. But he was saying, he watched it, his friend watched it, it's in cinemas. He's saying it is ridiculous. They were talking about it, it's mad. And then I come home, after my kids seen that, then I'm like, all right, let's sit down and let's read. How on earth is that kid going to, get that same dopamine release that he just got from a movie? And if you look, which Muslims have taken over the movie industry, the music industry, the banking industry, the oil, even the oils, the one industry that we apparently had, even though it was the Americans that were in kowtowing with the Saudis, even that is going to be overruled because obviously we're being environmentally friendly now. So this notion, that they're taking over and that is absolutely not the case, because the Muslims that are here, I'm telling you, it's so difficult to keep your child on religion. Because what you have to do is you have to detox. You have to do a dopamine detox. Because no matter who you are,
Especially if they're in schools.
I'm telling you, I'm thinking twice about even allowing my children to even attend a school because of the garbage. I used to be a school teacher. I know.
I would homeschool my children.
You know what I mean? It's so early.
But then they make it financially impossible to do that.
But if that's the thing though, financially impossible and all that, if we were taking over, surely we'd have institutions above the law. But if you go to what's the Jewish place near here, begins with S, Stratford, Stamford Hill. Over there, apparently they have their own ambulance.
Yes, they do. They have their own police. They
Own
have
police?
Yeah.
You tell me in Leicester, you tell me one. you tell me one ambulance that we have, mate. Even the leaders of like Queen Mary's in East London.
Yeah.
Like the majority of the people might be Muslim, but the people pulling the strings, the head teacher will be a white person. Notice this. Even when it came to the LGBT thing in Birmingham, the head teachers were white people. Now I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but what I'm saying is when there's this illusion of they're taking over and this and that, come on, let's
I wouldn't say they're taking over.
Majority. Because the majority and minority.
majority doesn't mean anything.
But because it's down to the south, north of England, Surrey and this region, all white people. Hardly to find someone Asian or Indian or whatever.
My point really was over time.
I'm living in Netherlands.
2060s.
I'm living in Netherlands. Right? The majority of the people.
But even if you got black and brown people, like look at Rishi Sunak. What Hindu thing do you see about him? Sadiq Khan. What Muslim thing do you? So when you do get brown people in power, there will be. I don't want to use the terminology because some people regard it as racist, but they're regarded as coconuts. I'm not saying he is one. I'm just telling you for academic reasons. Brown on the outside, white on the inside. That's a label that they use for them. Yeah. So that's the thing. That even when you do, like Barack Obama, he had a pastor called Jeremiah Wright. But Jeremiah Wright had no access to Obama when he became president. So there are certain kind of things that are in place. So this notion, I don't want you to fall in this trap, Earl, because yes.
When I said that, I wasn't saying Muslims to do it.
I don't know.
It's Africans.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
You said the white is getting majority, which is true. Certain, I mean.
Like I've been in IT for 17 years. I can't find a job anymore. I've been employed for 4 months. I might have to leave London because I just can't find work.
Very difficult. If I can't buy a property in London, it's impossible. I'd have to go to one of the ghettos like Birmingham, which apparently we're taking over.
It's cheap because it's cheap as well.
Well, I'm struggling over there as well. You know what I mean? It's not cutting it. But that's the thing when you're self-employed, when you're doing stuff yourself, and because I don't want to get a mortgage. Because again, I believe interest is forbidden.
Yeah, I'm not that as well.
You know what I mean?
Many teachers left London because the cost of life is very high. They went away, cheap, and most of them are white. And then who took over Asia?
You need to get a committee.
Very nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
I'm really very glad. I'm very happy to see someone like you, very educated.
Thank you,
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, my pleasure.
God bless you.
So Earl, that's why we had this discussion last week as well, and hopefully I've kind of reinforced certain things and removed certain biases. Like it's definitely not a takeover thing.
I'm
Like
interested in you saying what's different with the Sunnis compared to then all of the other ones. Is that the Shia?
so Shias will face a similar problem to us. Like the Shias that are traditional Shias, they can't come over. However, if you're a Shia that are complaining of being oppressed in Iran, i.e. you're already liberal, you have a liberal framework, you can come over. So you
sticking
Yeah. So liberalism is welcome. If you're being oppressed in these countries because of liberalism, you're welcome. If you're homosexual, if you're being oppressed because then you're more than welcome here. If you're traditional, then no, you're not welcome here unless you're like a really genius guy or you're gonna come and you're gonna then you can come. But like now they've raised the bar that if you want to bring, like even if you're established, even if you're born here, you have to have a annual income of 38k to bring somebody over, and that's excluding the surcharge, that's excluding the other stuff. And it's really not as simple as that. It's certain people that will come and reinforce the liberal, with a small L, philosophy here in the UK. So they are just reinforcing that
I
whole.
wouldn't be surprised if they bring him in, train him up, and then send him back to the lands that
So-
they can't.
So here's what you said, that you didn't know about what's going on in Pakistan. So Biden,
LGBT.
yeah. So what he's
Yeah.
So English teachers are being funded in Pakistan. They're giving extra funding if they are promoting LGBT there. So this is on Fox News. You can Google this. So this is, again, and even even when you go to the villages, there's something called English medium schools, which is increasing. Like the English language, very common. Even the law over there is relying upon the English law, and the parties that are very kind of prominent, they have very strong liberal connections. The army, it has very strong links with America and the likes. So there are, certain things that when we hear this sort of stuff taking over, even though you didn't say that, but certain people will say that, clearly it's laughable to us, because we're like, hang on a minute, since the dawn of Pakistan, the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, since the start of it, not one leader has been able to complete one complete term, finish a complete term. They've either been deposed, they've either been killed. Since the beginning of the state of Pakistan, since it got started or inaugurated, since the beginning, any leader that's come into power has not completed their set term. It's been cut short because of either foreign influence, or they've been killed, or they're this, they're that. Because Pakistan is strategically very important. It's all about strategy. It's all about national interest. This is what Theresa May said openly in the Member of Parliament when she was asked about killing Syrian babies. Her response was, if it's within our national interest. That's the case. And when you look at these things, there's blowback. Jeremiah Wright, who was the priest of Obama, said this: Americans' chickens are coming home to roost. Like everything that we've been doing outside, they're now coming back and biting us in the backside. So
I would say the Americans are being scapegoated, although I would agree that they've carried on working and funding by paying taxes and funding that.
Yeah.
But I would say they're subjugated and occupied and controlled. I know a lot of Americans are just like you and me, and got families, and we're all being fucked over. Whatever you call
that's the thing, Earl. So yeah, when it comes to Shias, they fall in the same trap. So there are certain people that get bought over. But Nick Griffin's ironically, he was brought up in the Prime Minister's speech as well. He has awoken to this idea as well, that this notion that get the Muslims out and this and that, this was something that was facilitated earlier on. It's not something that can be fixed now. We now need to deal with it and handle and hold hands to remove a greater threat. However, that greater threat is trying to get us fighting amongst each other, which is what you said.
I don't want to get rid of Muslims at all.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Of course.
I'm just saying we need to work together to realise who the real enemy is, and it's not each other.
If I was to speak to a Christian, if that Christian is okay with their Bible being corrupted, and with having anonymous authors, etc., even though we have a nice discussion with them, that person's like, I'm still going to stick with Christianity. For me, that's still a victory. I'm still happy with that. At least that guy believes in God. At least he or she has certain morals, that person will go out and have certain level of morality, which is what we need nowadays, Earl. Because I'm going to be honest, this is my country.
If you're making a cake, you stick to the ingredients.
So Earl, this is I was born here. This is my country. These are my people. I don't want it to go down the crap hole. You know what I mean? It doesn't bode well for me that it's going down the crapper. So it bodes well for me that I come here and I try to correct what's going on. And the thing is, look, Cat Stevens, yeah? Famous singer. Yeah, so he accepted Islam, became Yusuf Islam. But again, you see so many people accepting Islam, but they're still productive members of society. We still want society to prosper. And how are we going to prosper society? Stay away from interest. Don't sexualize our people. No gambling, no alcohol, no drugs, etc., etc. We're dealing with our own community. Drug problem amongst our ghettos and our own people is a problem. But the thing is, when it's war on drugs, where are those drugs coming from? Like the drug wars in America, crack cocaine was being bought in by the CIA.
I heard that more opium was going in Afghanistan
Yeah.
when they took over than it was before. It's like,
Yeah, so when the Taliban took over, opium's gone down. But now they're being sanctioned. They're being punished. So it's ridiculous, mate. Like cocaine is something that in the city of London that we see over here, that's the most favorite drug over there, the cocaine. Yeah. So what can be said about these things, Al? So what do you think at the moment? Because obviously when it comes to morality, we do need to have certain grounded morality. Where are you at the moment with obviously what we discussed and the likes?
I agree with a lot you said, yeah, about the morality of it, and looking after the children, and looking after each other, and living by a set of rules, and helping with down a straighter path. Yeah, absolutely.
Then here's my next question then. Out of interest, what are the boxes that would need to be ticked for you to accept Islam?
I don't really like to label things or say I belong to one group.
That's fine. No problem.
I can listen to you today and I can agree with what you said and go, do you know, I have to take that away. I can live a better life if I do that. I can be less stressed and angry if I think like that. And just go on my way and make friends and connect.
That's fine. Even being a Muslim, it's not an obligation to declare it to everybody. Even though when you accept Islam, it's good to do it in front of two witnesses because you can get certain benefits like burial, like the Muslim burial is a bit different and inheritance, etc., etc. But this is a personal question to you. Personally, what would it take for you to accept Islam?
Maybe I already do. But I just don't feel like I need a label. I don't feel like I need to go into a building. I don't need to wear a certain type of clothes. But I'm probably very quite aligned with what you think. I haven't really disagreed with anything you said. I think probably most people are like that. You know, we all want to look after the children, don't we?
Yeah.
We all want to look after our parents, and we don't want to see what's going on in Gaza. And I think we're all in the same boat. Yeah.
So Al, now here's the next thing. I'll tell you the reason why a label in this case is important. You don't have to sing and shout about it to everybody. You can still do the things that you're doing, like connecting with other people, hearing other people, and you don't have to disclose that you're a Muslim. But the reason why it will be beneficial for you is because you'll have a map. And that map will help you navigate morality more precisely than you would outside of that map. Okay. Outside of the map, what would happen is there would be a lot of trial and error, like happens with subjective morality. A lot of, I touched this.
There's evidence to that.
Yeah, exactly. So Islam just makes it easy for you. So it's like you standing in the shoulder of giants and reaching greater heights. So rather than restricting your growth, that's all it is. And in Islam, a verbal declaration of something is very important to God, not to me or anybody else. Like we could do it outside. We could, you could say, you know what? Let me just speak to you outside. You could do it off camera or whatnot, and you just have to repeat one line, which is, I testify there's none worthy of worship besides God, and I testify that Muhammad is a messenger of God, which is Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. That would mean Islamically you are a Muslim. Now that means that now that connection has been opened. Because you have opened yourself to God, that means there are certain things that you can't see, the metaphysical as it were. You have connection to God through the metaphysical. Even though as a non-Muslim, you do have a connection. For example, if me as a Muslim, if I was to oppress you and you're not a Muslim, and you were to curse me, to God, God would still hear your prayer. A lot of people don't know this, but if you're a Muslim, you have a stronger connection with God, that there are further supplications that you can make to Him. You can pray to Him, and there's certain, like you got Ramadan coming up now as well, where fasting and there's different ways that you get to have control over your life.
I fast as well.
Yeah, and discipline as well.
Because I feel it's good for me.
But here's the thing now. Fasting is fantastic. It's good for you, but that's the physical nature. But there are certain spiritual timings, like just before sunrise, yeah, and just after sunset. These are spiritually significant timings, yeah, in which even if you like just before when you open your fast, the sun comes down, you can supplicate to God. And when you supplicate to God, He hears your prayer.
Sorry, what is supplicate?
Supplicate, you can ask God, asking God for something. Yeah, and that connection with God is much stronger. Yeah, and you can supplicate and you can ask Him. And in Islam, that supplication is more likely to be accepted. And your connection becomes stronger with God. And you feel your heart connect with God and it becomes purified. Because as Muslims, we believe that when you commit sins, there's a black dot that gets placed on your heart. Yeah, and if you commit bad acts and bad sins, then what happens is that over time you become impervious to bad things and you become an evildoer, and it becomes more difficult for you to stop doing that thing. So the more forgiveness you ask God, it purifies your heart. God doesn't require blood sacrifice like certain other faiths. You can literally raise your hands and you can ask God. You have a personal relationship with God. Like you said, there's no garbs that you are obligated to wear. There's no, you must go to that building and do da. Yes, it's recommended for you to feel part of a community. But if you're working, then you can pray at your workplace. You can pray at home. You can even pray here in the park. You know what I mean? Because even the connection with nature is something that Muslims we have. Like even when you're cutting your nails, we're encouraged to bury nails and hair into the ground. Even when we're praying, it's ideal. Like when the Prophet would prostrate, his head would connect to the ground because grounding. So we have all of these things. But in order for you to know that when you accept Islam, you're more open to scripture. You're like, okay, now I can read this. Okay, now I know that this is not just written by any Larry or any other individual. It gives you direction. If you want to learn philosophy and stuff, I've learned philosophy, Muhammad Ijab's learned philosophy, etc. You can. I've got a copy of the Bible at home. I've got, Hindu stories at home, no problem. But the thing is, for me, Islam is the one that's unadulterated, that is practical, that is relevant and unchanged. So that's the nuance, and that's why it's important. And if a person accepts Islam, for them eventually they will go to paradise. The bad deeds that they do, they will have to go to hellfire to get rid of them. If, of course, you live a bad life. If you seek forgiveness and you do good things, of course you get rid of those bad deeds, because a good deed outweighs a bad deed. So in order for you to know this, you'll be more spiritually in tune, you'll feel more connected, you'll feel more complete. And yes, outside, you can meet other people, you can do that anyway. So what do you think about that? Because I personally think if you feel you're aligned anyway, you believe in the stuff anyway, for you to testify, it's not like, aha, you've testified now, got you, get them boys, bring in the chopper. It's not gonna, that's not how it is. So it's literally, it's just gonna be like, well done. You might get a couple of hugs and people saying well done, might exchange numbers, you might have questions or whatnot, but the journey is still gonna be up to you. You read the Quran, if you wanna read other scriptures or what, that's up to you. But at least you have a more directed and more kind of precise route that you had before. That's all I'm saying. What do you think about that?
Yeah, sounds reasonable. Sounds good, yeah. Probably read the book first before I declare anything and say anything.
That's fine.
Because,
Yeah.
is it your uncle or?
No, it's the first time I saw him. But he feels like my uncle. Because I did. There was
I said to his wife, don't convert to Islam.
Yeah.
Read the book,
Yeah.
understand it, and come to it with a feeling, rather than I just want to be part of something. Give it half your effort.
But the reason why I even mentioned that to you is because there's a difference between what you said and say what somebody else would say. Because you said yourself, you're aligned to it anyway, you believe in it anyway, and the precepts and the likes. So the alignment is there anyway. What now needs to happen is standing on the shoulders of the research that's done already and what's there already, and to benefit. I'm not saying that, the here and now. What I'm saying is that it seems to me like you're ready. However, if you want to read further, but don't delay it, because death is something that it doesn't matter if you're an atheist, a Muslim, or a Christian. Death is something that's inevitable. That doesn't mean accept Islam right away. It means that give it a priority. Like, okay, I'm gonna do the washing. Okay, take out the dog. Visit my mom. Finish my papers or what. No, this needs to be at the top of the list because of its urgency and how it can help you in other facets of your life. Like you're talking about being more peaceful and being more calm. Imagine if somebody said, okay, doing this particular prayer, recite this 3 times, and hopefully this will help and this will relax you, and it will unlock so many other things that I can't necessarily tell to you because you did this. You need to be kind of grounded with the foundation and stuff like if I was to talk to somebody else about grounding, it wouldn't make sense to them. But you click to it straight away. It made sense to you. Do you see? And even as a designer, like last time when we spoke as well, the symmetry in design, Fibonacci sequence, and the golden ratio and the likes, that clicked to you straight away. Somebody else, they wouldn't give monkeys about that. You know what I mean? So that's the only reason I said that. You're more than welcome to, and like you said and like I said, we come to the park often. You're more than welcome to take me to the side and said, you know what, I do feel aligned, and you can either do it on camera, you can do it off camera. It's absolutely up to you, but you're more educated about the nefarious nature of what's going on than the average individual, and you're more clued on to this stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if you accepted Islam very soon, but it's up to you. How quickly you want to do it, however quickly you do it, that's however quickly you will get to flourish more often. Because you're like a flower that's grown, but you've grown from the moisture of, the passers-by and, the dew and stuff like that. Islam will be the one that will be watering you, will be giving you that nourishment that comes from the source, that will be truly helping you flourish. Growth can be done in any society, but flourishing, that can only be done from the Creator. Because the Creator's created us, He's designed us, He knows how everything functions and what needs to happen at what time, and for you to have that connection. So I'll definitely, so have a look at that, and then I'll be here. Just pull me aside whenever you want, and then we can have a part 3. Yeah. But definitely, always a pleasure.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah, good to see you again.
Likewise. Good to see you.
I'm an ex-Muslim. I converted.
What's your name?
My name is Abdul Qadir.
Nice to meet you. Abdul Qadir, nice to meet you. Thank you for waiting so patiently.
No problem. It was very enjoyable, actually.
Thank you.
May I record this for my personal?
If you want to, yeah.
So we're recording this as well?
Yeah, we can do, yeah. I'll just clip this here.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. Okay. So my objections or criticisms against Islam.
What's your name?
Abdul Qadir.
Abdul Qadir. My name is Zishan.
Zishan.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So Abdul Qadir, just out of interest,
Yes.
you used to be Sunni Muslim, Shia Muslim?
Sunni. Yes.
Sunni. What was the reason you left?
So the reason is not about Sharia and these things. The reason is philosophical. I have always been interested to understand the nature of religion, what religion means. Okay. So and my basic question was. So I converted to Hinduism, and in Hinduism, the basic.
You're Hindu now as well?
Yes. So in Hinduism, the basic question is, okay, you all religions talk about God, and God created us, created this. What is this that He created? Before you talk about God, what is it that He created? What is existence? Okay. Before we talk that there's a God, we should first know what existence is, right? And after we know it, we can decide and conclude whether there's a creator of it or not.
So you believe